a horror movie guy, and this is part 2 of ranking every single horror movie franchise. Again, our guest star, the Uncle horror movie guy,
Hello.
and let's get into it. Starting off with Cold Prey. I've never seen Cold Prey, so
I have heard of it, but I don't think I've seen it. So yeah.
all right. Next we have Basket Case.
Okay, Basket Case. Yeah, Basket Case is a really weird, sort of crazy trilogy from the late '80s and early '90s. It's kind of about a monster that lives in a basket. Um, it's weird. It's crazy. Um, I would say that it should be. I would say C.
See, all right. Also, we want to talk a little bit more about the movies in this video, so it might be a little bit longer, and we might
Yeah.
not get through a lot, like how we did last episode. So now we have the Ginger Dead Man.
Yeah. So
I've seen the first 2 Ginger Dead Man movies.
yeah, so there's 3, and then there is a crossover movie with the Evil Bong, Ginger Dead Man versus Evil Bong. So there's 4 total. Yeah. So you wanted to really did you want to explain sort of like what?
Sure, yeah, I'll explain the premise. So basically, like in the first one, this like killer like falls into like this cookie baker machine, and he like melts into cookie dough, or
Yeah.
like his ashes or something.
Yeah, his ashes get made into a cookie. So yeah, basically, okay, if you think Child's Play, okay,
Yeah,
think
it's like
about Child's Play, but instead of a doll, it is a gingerbread cookie.
Yeah.
So yeah, but okay, so this is a Full Moon movie by Full Moon Studios, and the guy Charles Band, my main man, Charles Band. So yeah, these kind of movies, these Full Moon movies, if you're either gonna get it or you're not gonna get it, and if you don't get it and you're not in on the joke, you're gonna hate these movies. So I love them. I think Charlie.
I love them too.
So yeah, I think it's gonna have to go in B. Yeah. Actually, that high.
This movie it's great. Also, Evil Bong is also made by
Evil Bong is Full Moon, and then there's some other ones coming up on the list that are also Full Moon coming up.
All right. Next we have Carrie.
Have you seen Carrie? You've not seen Carrie. Okay, yeah, you need to see Carrie. Yeah. Okay, so the original Carrie Carrie is about a high school student who discovers that she has telekinetic powers, and you guys probably know the famous scene at the prom and everything, but there are a few more movies. There's a sequel that was made in the 90s, and then there's a couple of remakes that are out there. None of the sequels or remakes are really all that good, but just based on, I think, the quality of the original, I would have to push it up to C, just based on the quality of the original.
Yeah, alright. Next we got Pumpkinhead.
So have you seen Pumpkinhead? You've not seen Pumpkinhead. Okay, so I have seen the first one, and I don't think that I've seen any of the other ones other than the first one. But the first one is really good. It's got Lance Henriksen in it. So if you guys know the movie Aliens, Lance Henriksen plays the robot in Aliens. He's the main character in it, and it's sort of about a curse, and this demon comes out if he does this curse. And yeah, it's a really, really good movie. But yeah, I would say I would put it in C.
C.
Yeah.
All right. Now we have Ouija.
Ouija? Yeah. I haven't seen it.
Me either. Now we have Mega Shark.
I haven't seen it either. I haven't seen that one. And I haven't seen Bunny Man either.
It's a lot of...
Yeah.
Killjoy.
Okay, so Killjoy, it is another Full Moon movie franchise. It is kind of like a slasher, a clown slasher movie, and it was made sort of with the intent that it's more towards an urban um, audience in mind. So it's like an African American clown that does the killing. Unfortunately, it's not that great. Some of the later sequels start to get a little bit better. So I think 3, 4, and 5 are better than the first two, but they're still not all that great. I wouldn't go any higher than D.
D. Alright. Now we have Manic Cop.
Maniac Cop.
Maniac.
Maniac Cop. Maniac Cop is about a cop that is killed and then he becomes a zombie. And then, if I remember correctly, I hope I'm not getting this confused with a different movie, but he goes to kill the people who are responsible for his death. Again, if I'm getting that confused with a different movie, you guys can correct me in the comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a trilogy. All three are pretty decent, so I would say C.
C. Alright. Now we have Prom Night.
Prom Night. Okay, so you have not seen.
I've not seen Prom Night.
Okay, I have seen the original and I have seen the remake. I do know that there are a couple other ones in there. The original is a pretty standard slasher movie. It does have Jamie Lee Curtis in it, for those who are interested in that. But other than having Jamie Lee Curtis, it's really not all that interesting. I would say, honestly, I'd put it in F.
Yeah. Alright, now we have Night of the Living Dead. I've seen Night of the Living Dead.
Okay, so I believe that this is referring to the entire George Romero Dead series.
Probably.
So that would be Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, and Survival of the Dead. Okay, I think that that's what they're referring to when they are saying that this is a franchise. Now, the first three of those, uh, obviously these are all zombie movies. I think if you're on this channel, you probably know what these are. The first three, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, are pretty much unimpeachable classics.
Yeah.
I really like Land of the Dead and Diary of the Dead as well. The only one that I would say is maybe not as good as the other ones in the franchise is Survival of the Dead. It's kind of unfortunate that that was George Romero's last movie. But I would still say that this has got to be an S tier series.
I agree with that's C. I agree with that because from the first one I've seen, it's really great. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Now we have One Missed Call.
One Missed Call. That sounds familiar, but if I've seen it, I really don't remember.
Yeah, I've not seen it either. Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, Have you seen the Paranormal Activity movies?
I don't think I have.
Okay. Yeah, Paranormal Activity, low budget found footage movies, kind of creepy. I wouldn't recommend watching them alone if you're if you're just in your house alone because it might creep you out. I did that and it did creep me out. The first three are really, really good. And the fourth one is probably the weakest, but then there is the fifth and the sixth one are get back to good quality, and then there is a seventh one that doesn't really tie in with the rest of the lore. And actually, if you guys are interested, there's a really good documentary about the Paranormal Activity series that's on Paramount Plus. And if you guys are at all interested in the Paranormal Activity franchise, that's really good. I recommend it highly. But anyway, as far as the franchise, I would say I would give it a B. Actually,
B. All right.
yeah.
B. Yeah. All right. Now we have the Slumber Party Massacre.
Which I'm guessing you have not seen.
I've not seen.
I've only ever seen the first one. I do know that there's other ones, but based solely on the first one, you pretty much know what you're going to get with the title of that. I really shouldn't have to explain that. It's a slasher. I would say, I'd say D.
D. All right. Next we have Poltergeist. I've seen all the Poltergeist movies.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly S.
S?
I would say S.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to say S too.
I mean,
3 solid movies. I'm actually a really big defender of Part 3. I know some people are
Part
pretty down.
Pretty good.
Some people are pretty down on Part 3. But yeah, it's a solid trilogy. I can't say I have not seen the remake. I've heard it's okay, but if anybody's seen the remake, if you want to comment about it in the comments, go ahead. But I haven't seen it.
Yeah, but it's a great franchise. Next is Cube.
Cube. Cube. I'm guessing you have not seen,
Nope.
but Cube. Yeah. It is really kind of weird. It predates Saw by about 5 years, and it's sort of like that. People are stuck in a room, and there's all sorts of traps and everything, and they kind of have to figure out why they're there. I know that they made at least 3 of them, maybe more, but I think I have seen the first and the second one, but I only really remember the first one. But based on the strength of the first one, I would have to put it in B.
B. Alright, next we have Subspecies.
Subspecies, which is another Full Moon production, which you have not seen. We talked about that earlier. Subspecies, guys, this is a vampire franchise, which is honestly, this is like an unknown gem of a franchise right here. 5 movies. The 5th one just recently came out, and it is absolutely fantastic. 5 movies. I cannot recommend these high enough. In fact, I'm gonna go S on this.
All right.
I'm gonna go as high as S.
Alright, yep, and S. Alright, next we have The Purge.
All right, have you seen
I've
any?
I've not seen The Purge, but I know the basic premise.
Yeah, I'm guessing that most people are aware, at least, of the basic premise. On one day of the year, all crime is legal. That pretty much is it for about 5-6 movies now. You pretty much know what you're going to get with it. You're not exactly breaking any ground as far as storytelling, but you're going to watch a movie and you're going to have a good time with it, but it's not going to be anything spectacular, so I would say D.
D, alright. Next we have Psycho, which I have not seen, but I need to. Seen.
Yeah, you really, really do need to see Psycho. Okay, so Psycho, all right, the first one, obviously everybody knows the first one. It's a classic. It is one of the greatest movies of all time. Forget horror movies. It's one of the greatest movies of all time. Psycho 2, really, honestly, a quality sequel. Psycho 3, it's good. People sleep on Psycho 3, but it's honestly really, really good. Psycho 4, not the greatest thing in the world, but not terrible. Don't watch the remake. There's no reason to. And then I don't think there's anything else other than after the remake. But I'd have to put it in A as a franchise.
All right. Next we have Puppet Master.
Puppet Master, yeah. Another Full Moon. My man, Charles Band. So you have seen...
I've seen the first 3.
The first 3.
Out of like 20.
Out of at least 15. If we include all of the spin-off and the alternate timeline and the reboot and everything, there are at least 15, maybe 16 now, because they just came out with a new one just last year. Puppet Master Dr. Death, which is just based on just one puppet. So to me, I grew up with these movies, watching these movies, and it's got to be an S tier.
All right. Puppet Master. All right, now we have Recorder Rec.
Rec, yeah. So yeah, Rec, for people who have seen Quarantine, Rec is the original Spanish version of Quarantine. And if you've seen Quarantine, you've pretty much seen Rec, but Quarantine is in English. It is almost the exact same movie. It's just in English. It's almost a shot-for-shot remake. But Rec is better. There are 4 Rec movies, I think. I don't want to really spoil Rec because there's stuff that happens in it that you could be spoiled. But I would say B.
B. All right. So now we have Saw.
Saw.
I've seen the first 25 minutes of the first Saw movie.
And it freaked you out.
It freaked me out.
A little bit too much, yeah.
A little too much.
So yeah, I have seen all of them, including the most recent one that just came out a few weeks ago. And yeah, it's kind of pretty similar with The Purge. You pretty much know what you're going to get with a Saw movie. You're going to get traps. You're going to get people. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be gory. It's going to be kind of fun. But you're not exactly going to be reinventing the wheel here. So I would say it's like C or D. But I'd go C with Saw.
All right. Next we have Scream.
Seesaw.
Seesaw.
Scream is S.
S. That's easy.
Scream is S.
Yep.
Easy S.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know what Scream is, then yeah.
Then watch it.
Watch Scream right away and then come back to this video.
Yeah. I mean, it's if you've seen it, you know that it's so good. Alright, next Sharknado.
Sharknado. What to say about Sharknado? I have seen the first one. And it's not a full moon movie. It's a movie made by the Asylum, which is like Full Moon, but worse. If that makes sense to people. But Sharknado, it's fun to a point, but ultimately it's just not very good. I would just say F.
Alright. Now we have The Silence of the Lambs.
Which you've seen?
No.
No, you haven't seen.
I've not seen.
Okay, you need to see that.
I know. There's a lot of movies.
Okay, so yeah, Silence of the Lambs. So I think what they're including in Silence of the Lambs are Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal, Red Dragon, and then Hannibal Rising. So that group of movies, I think, has to go. I would say B on that.
B. All right. And now we have Sleepaway Camp,
which you haven't.
I've not seen, but isn't it like Friday the 13th?
It's similar to Friday the 13th. It's a slasher movie that takes place at a camp. There are a surprising number of these movies. I think it gets up to 5.
Wow.
I have seen the first 3, and then I have seen the 5th one. The 4th one, I don't recall what specifically. There's something strange about the 4th one, but I don't remember what it is. But I haven't seen it. As far as a franchise, the first one, you guys, is pretty good. You should definitely watch the first one. Anything other than that, unless you're doing a marathon of sleepaway camp movies or slasher movies, there's really no reason to watch anything beyond the first one. But the first one is so good that I think I'm going to have to go B, just based on that first one.
All right. And now we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Which you
I've not seen.
have not seen.
But it's Leatherface.
It's Leatherface, you guys. I think even people who haven't seen it, you pretty much know what it is. So yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Very obviously the first one is great. The second one surprisingly good. If you guys haven't seen the second one, if you guys are sleeping on the second one, you should watch it. It's really, really good. And then the ones after that sort of range between not like sort of a lame and then sort of trail off into being just forgettable or just sort of bad all over. This is another one where there's way too many of these. They keep making Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, but based on the first two, I think it gets to C.
C. Alright. Now we have the Blair Witch Project.
Okay. Which you have?
I've not seen.
You've not seen?
I've not seen.
I thought you did see it.
I think you're thinking of The Witch.
Oh, okay.
I watched The Witch.
Okay. So the Blair Witch Project. The Blair Witch Project, the original is, sort of, it's a found footage movie. And then the sequel is this really strange movie that really, it doesn't make any sense. I can't really say what it's about, the second movie. And then I do know that they made another movie recently, like within the past 5-6 years, something like that, but I have not seen it. But honestly, I think it only gets to D.
D.
Yeah.
All right. Next we have Predator,
which you haven't.
I have not seen.
You've not seen. Okay, Predator. It's more of an action than a horror. I think I have seen all of them. But yeah, Predator, this alien comes to Earth and is hunting as part of like a ritual type thing. And it's got Arnold Schwarzenegger in the first one. And that's pretty much all you need to know. You should watch the first one. Anything past the first one, unless you really like 90s or 2000s action movies, you're probably not going to like anything past the first one. So I think that only gets it to, I'd get it to D.
D. All
yeah.
Right. Now we have The Woman in Black.
I've not seen it.
Me either. Troll.
Troll. I've seen the first one. It's weird. I wouldn't even necessarily say it's a horror movie. It's more of a fantasy, like comedy type thing. It's not that good. I've not seen the sequel. I only know of one sequel. I'd say F.
F. Alright. Now we have Urban Legend.
Did you watch Urban Legend?
We watched it, and then I fell asleep during it.
How far did you get in it before you fell asleep?
I mean, I remember the beginning car scene. I remember seeing Robert Englund, and then that's kind of it.
Okay, so yeah, Urban Legend is kind of like what came out after Scream came out. A lot of movies came out after it that were really similar, had a similar kind of story. So if you like those kind of 90s Scream clone type movies, then you probably would like it. But I think it only gets to D.
Alright. Now we have Underworld.
Underworld. So yeah, that one, I definitely have seen a few of those movies. I think that there's like 6.
Wow.
There's at least 5, but I think I've only seen the first 3. It's like vampires versus werewolves. It's like an action horror type thing. It's okay.
Sorry.
I'd say D.
D. All right. We're gonna do 3 more. We're gonna do Hatchet, It, and Leprechaun, and then this will
We'll
be
cut
the
it off there.
Yeah, and then we'll
probably
finish in the next video if we do a little longer.
Yeah.
All right. So Hatchet.
Hatchet. Which you have not seen.
I've not seen.
Okay. Hatchet is a movie franchise from the 2000s. And it's sort of a throwback to 80s style slashers. And it's decent. If you've seen an 80s slasher, then you've seen pretty much everything that you're going to see in Hatchet. So I'd say D.
D. Alright. Now, It. I have seen the miniseries and both of the newer movies. The horror movie Uncle probably won't agree with this, but I'm gonna put it in S tier.
Okay.
I love it.
It's your thing. You can put it in S if you want.
It's your puppet master. Like, I love it so much. Now we got the last one for today's video, which is Leprechaun.
Leprechaun. Okay. So you have seen. What have you seen?
The first 2, the third one, which is in Vegas, and then Leprechaun in Space.
Leprechaun in Space. So you've seen the first 4.
Yeah.
It's another one where you'd be surprised how many there actually are. There's 8 total.
Leprechaun in the Hood.
Yeah, Leprechaun in the Hood, Leprechaun Back to the Hood. Then there's Leprechaun Origins, and then Leprechaun Returns. Really, you can skip Leprechaun Origins, but you're pretty much going to know whether or not you're going to like the franchise by the first movie. If you watch the first movie and you like it, then you'll probably like the other ones in the franchise to an extent.
Yeah.
To whatever extent you enjoy the first one, you're gonna know. So what do you say? B?
Yeah, B. I agree with that. I mean, it's silly. It's very
Yeah,
silly.
it's really silly.
So
don't take it too seriously, and you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. All right. So this is our ranking. So come back for part 3, which should be out soonish. So please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Leave your comments of any of these movies if you like them. And goodbye.
Bye.